Alright guys, so welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So this video is going to be like a package from China, but this one is going to be a very huge one. They also love to call these the high definition home game machine. Or in other words, Pandora's box jungle never ends. The first thing I've noticed with this is a gigantic box, but it doesn't weigh a lot. And the reason why, because this is a new model, this thing is fully made of plastic. It's going to be Plastic Fantastic Stick. Alright, so let's open it up and let's do a quick unboxing with you guys. So let's take a close look on the inside, because I'm really curious what are we going to get with this new model. Like with your typical Pandora's box, we do get ourselves the power supply 12 volts, VGA cable, USB cable and an HDMI cable and some spare buttons. Now let's see, the buttons are also completely different. Here you can see like we do have this very nice curve in the button. I really like it. Of course the same clickish buttons that we have seen before, but also like the measurements, they're like the slim editions. Alright, so let's remove the styrofoam and let's see. So this time we don't need to assemble the ball tops. But here you can see like it's a completely different design that we have seen before. But this Pandora's box called the RRTV model is basically a different brand from China that makes all kinds of versions. I can say like they have a lot of different versions. But I'm very curious what are we going to get with this Plastic Fantastic edition. Okay, so both players will have 6 buttons. There's also an 8-button version, not with this case but a different case. The joystick is your typical, like I say, Sandwa clone, and at the top we're going to get the player 1 and of course the coin button or the menu button over there at the top. The buttons are also like a completely different quality, and I'm gonna say like the long travel ones that we've seen before, I already mentioned, it got this very nice curve. Personally really love it when you play with this. At the bottom I do get a completely metal plate, so I'm very happy with it because it will give some weight. Because in the past I did see some full, let's say, Plastic Fantastic cases and they were not like great quality. And in combination with these nice rubber feet, so very cool. At the back we're going to get ourselves the on and off switch and of course the normal connectivity what we're having with the Pandora's box. 2 USB ports, the standing button, volume control, audio out with a jack, do have like an VGA out, HDMI out, and we're having here an input for the 12 volt power supply. So this version does have a light up feature, what you can see over here, mostly what they're doing, putting some LED strips, RGB LED strips at the bottom, and it shines through the plastic or translucent parts of the buttons in combination here at the front. So I personally really like what I'm seeing over here. Looks pretty cool, especially in the dark. Alright guys, so let's take a close look at the all new Pandora RRTV, the 2022 model. I'm very curious what are we going to get. The menu is slightly different when you're looking at their Pandora's boxes, but how good is it underneath? Because it looks maybe fancy, but it's not always the case. So with a lot of these Pandora's boxes we're going to get the big gigantic list. Oh, they added a lot of double games, you know, like the AES stuff, you know, like it's just double games. Pressing the player 1, we do have the options for different platforms, and yeah, the search function is even possible here. So let's see how this seems to be working. Let's search something. Okay, no, that wasn't brain fart, Wicked, that wasn't brain fart. Alright, let's see if we can find anything, how fast it will search. Alright, so it seems to be that it is searching very fast. Okay, so here you can see like there are a lot of different versions out there, but it doesn't really show what kind of, because I would not be surprised if there's like some basic like NES clones or weird stuff on here. But let's take a close look at the static menu, because I'm really curious about that one. Let's find this lighty tidy button. What is it? That is it. Alright, so when it comes to the menu, there is something I just want to see some changes. To begin with, let's take a close look at the system configuration. Guess what? There is no aspect ratio. They still didn't like add it. It seems like we're like a couple of years later on and they just give a shit. But you can shut down the on and off menu, the pause menu, but that's only when you implement like the coin function. So we can disable the quality optimization and the scan line. And here you can see we do have the option for 4 player mode, so that is pretty damn cool. Here you can see like you can even change that out. So when it comes to the main menu and also the settings menu, there's nothing special about it. Boot, demo, movies can be basically shut off. So that's it, like there's nothing really fancy going on over here. It's the same stuff all over again. Okay, so let's take a close look in the 3D section. But quite interesting that they put the Mortal Kombat 1 game in 3D settings, simply because that's nothing to do with 3-dimensional. Basically what I want to say, like 3-dimensional, is that you have like the PlayStation 1. And there are some even Pandora's box out there that have like the support for PlayStation Portable, Dreamcast and all other fancy stuff, but this one doesn't have it at all. So this is similar to the Pandora's box 6. Oh boy. So let's try out, let's start with the first benchmark game for MAME and see how it runs. Alright guys, so let's take a close look at the new model. So the first thing, and it is a positive thing, it seems to be running MAME Mortal Kombat 1, so they're not having a shitty board in the inside. Joystick seems to be working just fine. Only let's see what we have with the button layout. So the button layout is messed up. Wow! Here with you, cheesy bastard. Okay, well, it's quite interesting that we do have a quick load, quick save now for PlayStation 1 and there's a couple of other systems, but it doesn't work for MAME Mortal Kombat 1. So it's like absolutely freaking annoying and a little bit of a bummer they messed it up with that. Alright, next up, let's try in quick gameplay just to see how the PlayStation 1 stuff runs. Yet again, there's no aspect ratio, so you cannot play it in the original 4:3, and you need to have like this widescreen bullshit. Of course, I can manage to mess around with my television to get at least like a normal image, but I'm not going to do that today. The weird thing is, like, also with the PlayStation, you're used to use the A, B, D and the E button or whatever it is, but they messed it up. So basically the outer buttons are the controls. Kind of weird if you ask me. So let's play a short game of Demon Front, basically like a Metal Slug clone. Kind of cool game. One of those hidden gems that makes a Pandora's box pretty damn cool. But I'm really curious how this will work out on this box. And again, everything is on widescreen too. But this game is absolutely different compared with the Metal Slug. It's less chaotic. Another thing that I find quite hilarious are like these weird looking knockoff games. Air Umbrella. It's clearly like the balloon game that you can find on the NES. So it's kind of funny that you can find these games. But that's what you're also going to get with this newer models. We do get some 8-bit and some lost 16-bit with some previous models. Alright, let's try a different system, but so far so good. All the games will run just on normal speed. So let's see how responsive this freaking joystick is. Oof. I'm getting the like, this is not the best joystick I have ever seen, but oh boy. But you know what the weird thing about it is? Like, now I'm loading up a Neo Geo game. And what the problem is with this is, like, normally we do have one of these buttons that need to get out of the main menu, but it seems to be not working. So when it comes to the software part, they completely messed it up with that. Okay, so opening up this thing is a little bit differently like the previous models. We just need to remove all of the rubbery feet so we can remove the freaking like metal plate. It's very thin, what you can see over here, and also like they did implement a lot of RGB strips. We're just going to leave it on here. We can disconnect it if you want to. If you don't want to have the RGB at all, you can just leave it unconnected and you have like an unconnected device with no RGB. Light of future. Okay, so the construction is quite basic, but it is more of the same way I've seen before. So we can change out the joysticks if you want to with normal standwise. You can also replace the buttons if they can be plugged out fairly easy. The construction wise is very nice. I did notice it got a very nice speaker on the inside. It goes very loud and got a little bit of a bass to it, so that is very nice. So in here we do have where all the magic happens. So when using it for some time, you can feel that the cooling plate is doing a very nice job. But they removed the freaking fan. I'm guessing they had some issues with it in the past, but let's remove this bad boy. Let's rip this thing out, and I just want to see what are we going to get. So this is indeed like the 10,600 model. Nothing really fancy. The funny thing is, like, they click the board in over here, so you don't need to unscrew it or whatsoever. Or, yeah, I think there are some screws in here that we can remove. Let's see what's the best way to do. Okay, so when you're looking at the design, this is not something new. We have seen these smaller boards because they're just finding a new way to produce these things way cheaper. Okay, so they have like this very nice looking metal plate for cooling, but just I'm missing out like the big, like if an active fan cooled, like CPU coolers. A little bit of bummer. They put a sticker over here with implement also like the showing the number of, let's say the number of games I'm guessing that is on here, but take consideration like maybe this thing of a grain of salt because it's always the same stuff, like a lot of double, a lot of crap stuff. But the board, let's see if there's any production date whatsoever. Yeah, here it sees something. I'm guessing this is indeed like the 2022. No, it says here 2021. So it's kind of funny. It's like we have just a 2021 main board in here. It's like the last part of the year, but they show 2022 in the main menu. So it's like old stuff that they just keep reusing, slapping a new name. Let's get myself some pliers and let's remove this cooling. But yeah, what you can see over here with the cooling, it's nothing really fancy. There's a thermal pad over here and that's it. Like a little bit of a bummer. So do have some interesting chipset configurations or specifications. So here we do see like this thing runs on the Rockchip RK3128. Something we do see in handhelds nowadays more often. It comes with 2 RAM chips over here. So when you're looking at the specifications, they're using quite some interesting specs. It's nothing really fancy, of course. It's also like basic stuff we're fine in handhelds, but it is capable of running a lot of games. So this is what you're going to get inside of the machine and the main board. So when you're looking at this new RRTV 2022 model, yeah, I must say like there are some improvements here and there. The casing, don't know, be honest, like if it's going to be improvement. I do like the overall design. I do like the button, like the way how it looks. But take consideration, there are like the cheap China knockoff stuff the way I always can find when it comes to the joystick. But an overall quality is just okay. But in the end, when you're looking at what you're going to get, it's the same story all over again. I personally do like the way how this stick looks. Even it's made like fully made of plastic, almost fully made of plastic, and the bottom is only metal. I think it's a pretty cool stick when it comes to the design. It's very big, so there's a lot of space between 2 players. But when it comes to the software itself, there is nothing special about it, not even aspect ratio. Well, thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell icon on the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.